Hello, everyone. Let's study the chapter 16, infectious diseases affecting the skin and eyes. First of all, let's talk about the structure of skin. So the skin is the biggest organ in our body. Okay, and so the skin forms the boundary between humans and the environment. Okay, so the skin contains the skin, the hair, the nails, and all the glands for the sweat and oil generation. Okay, so actually the hair. So the total surface of the skin is about 1.5 to 2 square meter. Okay, thickness is 1.5 to 4 milliliter. So let's take a look at this diagram. Okay, so this diagram shows the structure of the skin. Okay, so so the outermost layer is the epidermis. Okay, epidermis. Epidermis have two layers. One is stratum corneum. Okay, stratum corneum. Stratum corneum actually is a layer of 25 cells thick. Okay, so that's a layer of dead cells. Okay, dead epithelial cells of the skin. Okay. So second layer is the stratum basal. Okay, stratum basal. Is this pink layer? Okay. Um, stratum basal actually, excuse me, is the layer of the uh, is the layer of living is the layer of live cells. Okay, so this layer can continuously generate new cells and push the old cells and push the cells upwards. Okay, so the old cells eventually will die. Okay, will die and then form the layer of stratum cornea. Okay, stratum cornea. So so millions of these cells. So the once the dead cell, so once the cell die, okay. So eventually, so the dead cell will be slouched off and shedding off of our body. Okay, so and off the skin. Okay. Also, since the stratum cornea is um, um, so it's the outermost layer to contact the air. Okay, so all kinds of microorganisms can stay on this layer. Okay, so since this layer is continue shedding off, so it can. So once dead cells is shedding off, so they will bring the microorganism so it will bring so the microorganism of our body. Okay, so the anterior so the anterior epi so the anterior epidermis replaced every 25 to 45 days. Okay, so the skin cells contains the keratin. Okay, so the keratin that give the cells the ability to withstand damage abrasion. Okay, so the keratin let the cells strong. Okay, so the stratum basal. So this is several layer below the cornea. Okay, so that's the source of cells make up epidermis. Okay. Actually there is no blood and so there is no blood vessels and nerves in this layer. Okay, in the epidermis. So if we get the cut or the trauma to this layer, so there is no bleeding. So let's talk about the dermis. Okay, dermis actually contains connective tissues, okay. So it's not epithelium, okay, it's not epithelial cells, okay. Um, so it also contains the fibroblast cells, collagen, macrophage, okay, mast cells, also the nerves, blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, okay. So if we get the trauma to this layer, so we have the bleeding, also if the trauma reach to this layer, we also feel pain, okay. So the blister formation is the result of separation of epidermis and dermis due to the friction, okay, trauma and burn, okay. Follicle. So dermis also contains the follicles, the hair follicle, okay. So this is roots for the hair, okay. It can generate the hair, okay. Also, it has glands, okay. Sebaceous glands produce sebum, okay. So that's oil, okay. Sebum is oil. Also have the sweat glands or sweat glands. Since all these glands have the duct reach to the epidermis, okay, so that's route for the microorganism to invade to this layer, okay, invade to the deep layer of the skin, okay. So actually the skin is the biggest biggest organs that protect ourselves, okay. So so physically so it provides a physical barrier between our body and the environment. Secondly, so it can secrete some peptides, so those are the antimicrobial peptides. So those um, can denaturate the uh, pathogen and kill the bacteria, okay. So those are the positive charged chemicals that can disrupt the negative charge membrane of bacteria, okay, it can kill the bacteria. So it can decrease the bacteria colony numbers on our skin, okay. Sebum. Also the sebum is the low pH, okay, because that's the fatty acid, okay, so make the skin very difficult for the bacteria to grow, okay. Okay, also high concentration of lipid is not good. It's not good environment for most of the microorganisms uh, to live on. Okay. However, some microorganisms can use the lipid as their food. Okay, so we will talk about this later on. Okay, once the fatty acid is metabolized, so it can generate some toxic byproducts. Okay, so this can inhibit the growth of microorganisms. So the sebum is also one type of mechanism that so this is also one type of defense of the skin. Sweat glands. So the sweat actually contains because the sweat contains the salt, it's very salty. Okay, so make our skin very salty. So the salty condition of our skin is tough for the microorganism to live. Okay. Also, so the sweat contains some chemicals that can inhibit microorganism. It's also this is low pH, okay, salty and low pH. Sweat also contains some enzyme, okay, lysozyme. So the lysozyme exist in sweat, tears, saliva, okay, and so they can directly um, break down the cell wall of the bacteria to kill the bacteria. Now let's work on this question. What substance produced by the skin is metabolized by the normal microbiota, produce toxic byproducts that inhibit growth of potential pathogen? I give you 5 seconds so you can give me the correct answer. So the correct answer is sebum, lipid. Now let's study section 2. So the normal biota of the skin. Since actually there are tons of microorganisms live on our skin, okay, on the surface of our skin. So those actually those bacterium, so this microorganism have the capacity to live in the tough conditions such as dry and salty, condition. Okay. So so those microbacterium are relatively rare on the dry surface. However, so there may be more microorganisms in the area. So in the wet area of our body, such as um, ground area, okay, and and oxide area, okay. So such as skin fold, okay, so underarm and groin, okay. Also, so there are also microbacterium lives in our hair follicles and the gland duct, okay, because yeah. So that's a route for the microorganism invasion, okay. So this is a defense mechanism of the skin. So the normal biota are the Streptococcus, Staphylococcus, uh, Corynebacterium, okay, and yeast, Pseudomonas, Lactobacillus. Lactobacillus actually, so when we eat a yogurt, okay, so the yogurt is made by the lactobacillus. So, so the science has launched the project that's a human microbiome project. Okay, so this project study and sequencing the microorganism those lived in our body or on the surface of our body. Okay, so hundreds of species have been studied. Okay. So since so science have found that different microorganisms lived in different area of our body. Okay, yeah, even though different people also carry different species. Okay, so those microorganisms are relatively constant. Okay, even over time, maybe from childhood to age to age. Okay, so now let's work on this question. Normal beta grow in dense population of a dry, flat area of the human body. So I give you 5 seconds. Its correct answer is false. Okay, so dense beta should be in the white area, such as groin or the underarm. Okay. Now let's work on the section 3. Section 3, so now let's talk about the MRSA. Okay, MRSA. MRSA means methicillin resistant Staphylococcus aureus. Okay. Actually, MRSA is a monster. Okay, it's a monster because we have only a few antibiotics option to treat this bacteria. Okay. So if this antibiotics doesn't so if these antibiotics don't work on the MRSA, this means we don't have any uh, treatment for this bacteria. So every year MRSA cause a lot of patient dies. Okay. So the characteristic of MRSA is the common cause of the skin lesion in non-hospitalized patient. Okay, so the strain is resistant to multiple antibiotics. Okay, almost all the antibiotics cannot treat this bacteria. Okay. So this Staphylococcus aureus, okay, this is gram-positive growing cluster, no motile, okay. Actually, so this type of bacteria has specific antibiotics resistant gene, okay. So MRSA can be found in 1/3 of the population, okay. That means it is also considered as the normal beta, okay. So if we have normal immunity, uh, so if we have the normal immune system, actually, so the MRSA could not cause the disease to us. Okay. So MRSA has a very strong resistance to the tough environment. Okay. Uh, even many disinfection so it can be resistant to many disinfectants, okay, and antibiotics. So the symptoms of the infection caused by MRSA is the wrist red tender local lesions with the pulse, okay, heart. We can feel heart on these infection regions, okay. Also, it's easier in break the. It's easy to it's easy for this to break the skin, and it can cause a fever if the toxin and bacteria get into the blood, so it can cause fever. So the transmission. Uh, since the MRSA exists everywhere, okay, it exists everywhere because 1/3 of population carry this bacteria. So those patients can spread this bacteria to everywhere, such as gym equipments, airplane, tree tables, okay, electronic devices. So this means this bacteria is everywhere. We can use so this is Coglis positive, so we can use this to detect this bacteria. Okay, so we can use so this is blood coat plate. We can culture the MRSA in this plate, so we can see like this. Okay. We also can do the so this so MRSA also produce hyaluronidase, okay, staphylococcus, kinase, DNase, and lipids. We can also use the PCR, okay. So the catalyst test can distinguish Staphylococcus aureus from other Staphylococcus species. Cogli's test. So this is Cogli's test. So the prevention. So that means since this bacteria is very rare, so we have to keep a good hygiene habit to prevent to protect ourselves. Okay, sanitize our hands often. Okay, uh, so so if must cause infections, so we can insist, so we can cut the lesions and dry the pills. Also use antibiotics. So only a few antibiotics can be uh, chosen by us. Okay, so that is vancomycin. Okay, vancomycin. Now let's talk about the other diseases. So those are the so those are diseases induced by the virus. Okay, so the virus can cause the rash. Okay, so those diseases categorized to the rash diseases. Based on different morphology of rash, so we can uh, classify those diseases. So the first is the maculopapular rash. Okay, so this flat or slightly raised colored bumps. Okay, and so the measles, rubella, fifth diseases, rosella can cause this type of rash. Okay, and now let's talk about the measles. So measles is known as the rubella. Okay, and can cause 367 children die per year, even uh, 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 so even now. Okay, because we so the measles vaccine is widely introduced to the human societies. Okay, so before the vaccine was developed, so measles cause 6 million people die every year. So most of them are children. Okay, since uh, since we have the vaccine, okay, so the measles is not a disease that cause so the measles is not disease that cause a lot of deaths. Okay, so the death rate is dramatically decreased. Okay, however, so in the developing countries, some country may not have enough vaccine. So this is still a problem. So even in the developed country like America, okay, so we still have the measles. We still have the measles. Okay, that's because some parents may think that there is the relation between the vaccine and the autism. However, so this relation is not is not proved by the scientific community yet. Okay, also some parents may not want their children to get the vaccine due to their religion belief. Okay, so that's why we still have the measles case in America. So the measles, so the symptom is like a flu. Okay, so through cough, okay, headache, conjunctivitis, lymphadenitis, so the fever, lymphadenitis. Okay, so the oral lesion is called Coblic spot. Okay, we can also find the specific So specific rash for the measles. So this is red micropapular extensum. Okay, like this. Okay. Mm. Spread from hand to the trunk and extremities, so we can see the dense rashes on the patients. Okay, so the sequelae is the laryngitis, bronchial pneumonia, and the secondary bacterial infections. Since the measles destroys the uh, surface of destroy the interstitial surface of the ear or the respiratory tract. So okay, so it can cause the bacteria to grow to cause bacterial infections, and in the ear or the sinus, also in the lungs. Okay, it cause the pneumonia. Okay, so it can also invade the brain to cause encephalitis. Okay, cause uh, central neural system damage. Okay, so it can cause permanent brain damage. Okay, or uh, so what's the epilepsy? Okay, epilepsy. So the brain damage can be subacute sclerosis, subacute sclerosing panencephalitis. So this is a progressive neurologic degeneration of the central cortex, white matter, and the brain stem. Okay, so it can cause patient death. Okay, so it's about 1 of 11 children can get this problem. So the mechanism of this disease is due to the defective virus unable to form a capsid and be released from the brain cells. Okay, so that means this virus still stay in the cells. Okay, so it causes the cells lose cellular functions. So they can destroy neurons and ancillary cells and break down the myelin. Okay, to uh, to cause damage of the nervous system, cause the neurological impairment and so the intellectual lose. Okay. Excuse me. So the virus actually exist in the respiratory mucosa and infect the trachea and bronchial cells. It can travel to the lymphatic system. Okay, so they can grow there and enter the and get into the blood. So you can so in the so with the blood flow, so they can reach to the brain. Okay, and the other organs. So they can cause the cell membrane of the adjacent host cell to fuse to large synthesia. So this is giant cells with many more nucleus. Okay. Um, so this is so that's the mechanism to cause organs damage, tissues damage. Okay, can cause a problem. The transmission. So since this bacteria exists in the respiratory tract, so it can be transmitted by the respiratory droplets by cough. Okay. So so the measles only infect human. So we are the only reservoir. Okay. So So the patient is infectious during the incubation, prodrome phase, and the skin rash. Okay. So diagnose. So based on the symptoms, so we can make our diagnosis. We can also do some lab work to confirm our diagnosis, such as ELISA test. Okay, for the IgM. So this is uh, serotype test for the virus, right? So now we have the vaccine. Okay, vaccine available for the children's. Okay, once the children's uh, get the vaccine, so this vaccine can protect the children's up to 20 years. Okay, so it is recommended for the children at age 12 to 15 months. Okay. So the treatment, since this is virus disease, so this viral diseases, so we don't have specific medications to treat the virus. Okay, so all the treatment is for the symptoms to reduce the fever, suppressing cough. Okay, give the patients enough fluid. Okay, vitamin. So vitamin A can be used as beer. Okay. Now let's talk about the rubella. Okay, rubella. Rubella is also known as the German measles. Okay. So the rubella is the Latin word means little red. So this is the minor rash. Okay. So the rash are sparse and are small. Okay, less red. Okay, compared to the measles, as we can see in these pictures. Okay, in this picture, so the rash is small. Okay. Uh, so the symptoms of the rubella for the children and adult is very mild. Okay. However, the most severe damage for the human is so the most serious damage is for the fetus in utero. Okay, fetus in utero. It causes so once a pregnant woman get infections, so it can cause the damage of the fetus. Okay, so the woman, so the pregnant woman had to be make sure they have get the vaccine for the rubella. Okay, so because the symptoms is mild, it's milder than the measles. Okay, so the adult rubella can cause a joint so the joint inflammations, so the patient can feel pain on the joint. However, it is mild, it can dissolve simultaneously. Okay, so the rash can spread from face to the trunk and extremities. So now let's talk about the uh, damage to the fetus. Okay, so this is called congenital rubella. Okay, so it can cause so it can harm the fetus. So this is teratogenic. So once virus is transmitted from mother to the uterus and to the fetus, so even the mother is, may not have the symptoms. Okay, however, it can cause the damage and harm to the fetus, especially in the first trimester, first 3 months. Okay, because at this stage, so the organs of the fetus are not mature. Okay, it's very easy for the virus to damage those organs. Okay, so if later maybe after 9 months of pregnancy. So the organs of the fetus are matured. Okay, so the rubella virus make so cannot do so cannot harm to can so cannot do uh, too much harm on those fetus. Okay, so so in the first 3 months, rubella virus can cause miscarriage. Okay, and permanent damage to the fetus. So the defect, so the harms and the defect may be the deafness, okay, cardiac abnormalities, ocular lesions, uh, and mental physical retardation, okay. So the sequelae include anemia, hepatitis, pneumonia, carditis, and bone infections, okay. So these are the sequelae. So the ruby virus is a virus for the rubella, okay. So this virus can stop the mitosis, can stop the uh, development of the organs, okay. So that's why it causes a problem. So it can induce it can induce apoptosis of the normal tissue cells, okay. So this is another mechanism for the harm of the baby. So it can also damage vascular endothelium, okay. So the organ will not get enough blood, so the organ cannot get enough nutrients and oxygen, so the organ will get damaged. So the rubella is transmitted in every to every countries in this world, okay. So it is transmitted through the respiratory droplets, okay, or occasionally urine, okay. So the congenitally infected infants are contagious for much longer time, okay. So since we have the rubella vaccine uh, to be introduced to the babies and children. Okay, so in America, so we in uh, so now so we don't find the new case of the rubella. Okay, in this recent time. Okay, so. So, so we make the diagnosis based on the symptoms of rubella, okay? Since the rash is not specific, okay? Even the small pink rash, however, the rash morphology is not specific for the rubella. So we need to do some lab work to confirm the diagnosis. We can do the ELISAs, okay, to detect the IgM antibody to this virus, okay. So the vaccine is the most important method to prevent this disease, okay, protect the children's. So if the patient gets the infections, so actually there is no specific medication to treat this disease or even to cure the virus, okay. Since the symptom is mild and benign, okay, sometimes so even the patient may don't have the severe symptoms. Fifth disease is also known as the rhizma infectious, okay. So people believe that so the health providers uh, This disease is recognized by the doctors to cause the rashes in children. Okay, like scarlet fever, measles, right? So this is also mild disease. Okay, the symptoms is mild. Okay. So the characteristic for this disease is that the children may have very red face, very red cheek. It's called a slapped cheek. Okay. Uh, so the rash can spread from face to trunk, extremities, mm, and rash may reoccur for several weeks and be brought to by activities. Okay, so maybe recurred by some activities such as heat. Okay, so it is caused by the parvovirus B19. So we can make our diagnosis based on symptoms. We can also do the lab work to detect the IgM. So this is very contagious. However, the symptoms is mild. Okay, and actually no specific treatment. Mm, so this is mild disease. It can dissolve the simultaneously. Okay. So the Rosella. Okay, Rosella is also one common disease in children and babies. It is no it so it is called a sixth disease. So the rash is macular papular rash. Mm. However, 70% of kids uh, mm, don't have the rash. So the characteristics of this disease is the high fever. Uh, can be up to 41 Celsius. Okay, so so it can come very quickly, last 2 3 days, may cause seizures of the patient. So on the fifth days, on the first days, so the fever disappear and the rash appears. Okay. So first, so the rash first day appeared on the chest and the cheek, and then so it's very rare to get a rash on the face and extremities. Okay, so if we found the rash on the trunks, so it is Rosella. Okay, Rosella is caused by the human herpes virus 6. So it is transmitted. So this type of virus actually people think that this type of virus is also transmitted to all the people in United States. Okay, uh, so actually so this disease is very mild. Okay, the symptoms mild, even the fever. So we have we have medication to treat the fever. Okay, after fever, so the symptoms are very mild. Okay, so until now we don't have vaccine for this for the human herpes virus 6. Now let's talk about the impetigo. Okay, impetigo. So the impetigo actually it is caused by the Staphylococcus aureus or the Streptococcus pyogenes. Okay. Um, also, so it can be caused by both of these bacteria. Okay. So the aspergine uh, can begin all cases of the disease, but S aureus take over and produce so So if impetigo is caused by both of the bacteria, so in the beginning, so it's maybe the Streptococcus pyogenes and then so Streptococcus pyogenes is killed by the Staphylococcus aureus. Okay, so and then so that's Staphylococcus aureus. So it causes lesions, skin lesions, so there's peeling skin, crusty and flaky scab, okay, uh, with the honey color crust. So we can find these lesions around the face, the mouth, the extremities, okay. So especially on the cheek, okay, because the children, the baby, uh, when the chicken and the baby eat, so all the food all the food are sticky on the cheeks. Okay, can cause the bacteria to grow. Okay, can cause the skin infections. So the impetigo, so the Staphylococcus aureus can generate the toxin A and B. So that's exfoliative toxin A and B and cause the blister. Okay. Streptopurgine, that's the gram-positive beta hemolytic uh, bacteria. Okay, so it can cause pharyngitis, scarlet fever, pneumonia, puerperal fever, necrotized fasciitis. So the Streptococcus pyogenes can generate many toxins and enzymes. Okay, so it can, however, even the Streptococcus pyogenes can cause post Streptococcus glomerulonephritis. However, in the impetigo case, so it's rare in the impetigo case. So in the impetigo case, okay. So the strain can cause impetigo, never cause rheumatic fever. Uh, so Streptococcus pyogenes is more often cause impetigo in newborn. Okay, however, Staphylococcus aureus more cause impetigo in the older children. Okay, cellulitis. Now let's talk about cellulitis. So this fast spreading infections in the dermis, okay, in the dermis, in the subcutaneous tissues. So the symptoms is pain, tenderness, swelling, warm, okay, and since these infections can develop and spread quickly, so it can release the toxin, so it can generate tons of toxin and release toxin to the blood, cause fever, okay, swelling of the lymph nodes. So this is very acute infections, okay, can cause lymphangitis, okay. So this lymphatic tube is infected, so you can see the red lines, okay, red lines. um, so um, So even the bacteria can also be so the bacteria can also get into the blood to cause the bacteremia. Okay. Um, however, uncomplicated cellulitis have a good prognosis because we have tons of antibiotics for us to choose to treat these diseases. Okay, so if we treat these diseases very quick with antibiotics, so the symptoms will be gone very quickly. Okay. So the Staphylococcus aureus and the Streptococcus pyogenes as um, as a major bacteria to cause these problems. Okay. Um, However, if the patient has the immunocompromised so for the immunocompromised patients, okay, for example, some patients consume some steroids, okay, steroids, or the patient has AIDS, okay, have the HIV infections. So those patients have very low have very low immune, okay. So they can get this so they can get cellulitis with other microorganisms such as probably caused by the fungi. Okay, for the infant is group B streptococcus. Okay, so the transmitter actually so since the staphylococcus and the streptococcus are the normal beta on the skin, okay, uh, so the so so cellulitis is induced by either by the trauma, okay, or maybe the invasion of this bacteria through the uh, glands duct, okay, to the deep layer of the skin. So the diagnosis is made based on the symptoms, okay. So for the mild cellulitis, we can give the patient oral antibiotics, okay, for the staphylococcus and streptococcus, okay. However, if a patient have immunocompromised condition, so we have give them IV antibiotics. So if the cellulitis is very severe, okay, so antibiotics doesn't show the optimal effect, so we have to do the surgical debridement, okay, to clean the wound, okay, clean the tissues to eliminate the dead tissues, okay, to treat this to treat the cellulitis. Now let's talk about the SSS, Staphylococcus scaly skin syndrome. Okay, so this is demolytic disease. Okay, that's because the Staphylococcus aureus generated some toxin to cause the skin lysis. Okay, so it affects mostly on newborns and babies. Okay, it can also infect children and adults. Okay, the significant symptom is a bullous lesion, very huge. The lesion is very huge. Okay, so it can appear in around the umbilical area in neonates. Okay, or in the depth or axillary area. Okay, axillary area. Split of the epidermis layer, okay, above the stratum basal, okay, stratum basal. So this is induced by the Staphylococcus aureus, okay. So the transmit, so so the transmission can be caused by the caregiver or the healthcare provider, such as nurse, okay, uh, or the babysitters, okay. Also, So the people work in the nursery or the preschool can also transfer the Staphylococcus aureus. Okay, 30% of adult are the carrier. Okay, so 1/3 of people have this bacteria lives on their skin. Okay, so they can bring this bacteria to the babies. Okay. So the diagnosis is made based on the symptoms. Okay, so once we see the bullous lesions, so that's Staphylococcus scattered skin syndrome. So we don't need the lab work for the confirmation. So we can directly treat the patient. Okay, so we have to give the patient immediately the antibiotics. Okay, we can also encourage the caregiver or the health providers sanitize their hands. Okay, so they have to dress professional suit to prevent the transmission. Now let's talk about the vascular pustular rash. Okay, those are also the various diseases such as the chickenpox, smallpox. Okay, smallpox. So the chickenpox is very common. Okay, so the symptoms are very mild, and so the disease is benign. Smallpox smallpox can cause severe symptoms. It can cause death. So we have once we found these patients, we have to report this case to the public health department. Okay. So the pox actually, so this rash contains fluid. Okay, so the rash contains fluid. So let's talk about the chicken pox. Chicken pox can cause fever and abundant rash. Okay, so the rash start on the scalp face, track and trunk and radiate to the extremities. Okay. So the skin lesions progress from macula and papilla to the tiny vesicles filled with fluid. Okay, uh, then crust and drop off after several days. Then here completely. Okay. So the lesion distribution is central pattern. Okay, so most rashes exist on the trunk. Okay, it's relatively rare in the extremities. Can last 4 to 7 days. So the patient is still contagious until all of the lesions have crossed over. So so it can cause 0.1% patient with encephalopathy. Okay, encephalopathy. So that could be fatal. However, normally, so this disease is mild. Okay. Shingles is caused the herpes zoster. Okay, it's herpes zoster. So herpes zoster is a type of virus. So it can get into the nervous system. Okay, sensory nervous fibers of the spinal nerve or branch. So so the virus can live in the ganglions, in the neurons of the ganglia, and if the patient if the patient have the decreased immune activities, or the patient or the patient receives some treatment such as surgery, okay, and get some trauma, okay. So all the patient gets the psychological stress, okay. So the virus can be released from the ganglion and reach to the skin, cause the disease, cause the rashes, okay. So it can migrate from the ganglion to the skin, okay. So this is the picture of the shingles, okay. So so the rash is like a band, okay. It's like a band, okay. It's like a band because that's the distribution area of the nerves fibers, okay. So for example, for this area, so that's for the cranial nerve 8, okay, cranial 8. That's so if a cranial nerve 8, so if the cranial nerve 8 contains this virus, so so the herpes zoster only affect this area, so the area for the cranial 8, okay. So it can cause post hepatic neuralgia, okay. It's very painful. It's very painful, okay. Can cause pain and tenderness. Can last for several months, okay. So it involves the cranial nerves that can cause. If it uh, the virus is involved the cranial nerve 2, 3, so it can cause eye inflammation, okay, ocular inflammation, and the facial paralysis, okay. So this excuse me, human herpes virus 3, also known as uh, varicella, okay, varicella. So this developed the DNA virus, okay. So the herpes virus 3 uh, can can be found in the respiratory tract, okay, respiratory tract, and so once this virus get into the respiratory tract, so they can attach to the mucosa and evade to the blood vessels, okay. So viremia can through the blood, so the virus can be transported to the skin, okay, to the skin, and cause serious fuse to form the synthesia, okay. So and then the virus can get into the nerves fibers, okay, and traverse through the nerve fibers to the root ganglion. So this is transmitted route, okay. So once the virus get into the root ganglion, so they will live there forever, okay, forever, until we die. So the transmission, so herpes virus 3 only infect human, okay, only infect human. So they can be transmitted through the uh, through the respiratory droplets, okay, respiratory droplets, and freed from the lesions, okay, from the rashes, okay. So so that means to prevent the infections, we have sanitized our hands, wash our hands, okay, wear the mask, okay. So the chickenpox is contagious, so if you are exposed, okay. Prevention. So we have the vaccine. Okay, vaccine. Mm. Zostavax is also approved by the FDA to prevent the shingles. Okay. So we have the medication to treat this type of to treat the herpes virus. This is cyclovir. So once the patient have the shingles, we can give the patient with this medication. So don't use aspirin because aspirin can cause Raynaud syndrome in the herpes infection. Okay, so it can cause dramatically the liver damage. Okay, can kill the patient. Now let's talk about the smallpox. So the smallpox is spread widely in the world. Okay, so the smallpox can be used as a bioweapon. It can also used by the terrorists to launch attack. Okay, so the U.S. United States consider huge threat of the smallpox as bioterrorist attack. Okay, seriously. Uh, so we have the vaccine for these diseases. Okay. However, once since smallpox has gone for many years due to the vaccine, so now many people stopped to get the vaccine for the smallpox. So that's why it's very easy to launch the for the terrorists to use the smallpox as bioterrorism attack. Okay, so the symptoms are severe. Okay, so the fever, malaise, okay, or the rash. So the rash, we can see these are the rash of smallpox. Okay, so those are the vascular rash. Okay, so it's from the pharynx spread to face and extremities. Rash could be the macula, papilla, vascular, okay, pustula, okay, can cause the crust. And then, so once the disease is gone, so it will leave the non-pigment side, pitted skin with the scar tissue, okay. So the symptoms, based on symptoms, we can divide the disease to the variola major, okay. So this is highly virulent form, cause toxemia, shock, intravascular coagulation, okay. So it can cause the patient death, okay. So we can make the diagnosis based on the symptoms, okay, such as fever, malaise, rash, okay. So the rash is very specific, okay. Because the rash firstly emerged in mouth, in the pharynx, and then spread to the trunk and extremities. So spread happened within 24 hours. It's very fast, okay. So once we found these cases, we have to report to the public health department and the CDC, okay. So they have to do the precaution method to stop the to prevent the spreading of these diseases. So the variola major, So after 30 or first day of the rash, so the bump become larger and filled with fluid, thick fluid. Okay, pustula are indented and begin to scribe over a few days. So after 2 weeks, so the rash will have crusted over, but the patient are still contagious. So the patient is very rare. Okay, very rare. So the rash can leave the scar. Okay. So the minor, variant minor, so they have less rash. Okay. They have less symptoms. Okay, fever is milder. Okay, some patient may have very mild malaise. Okay, so the also pox virus causes this disease. This is the DNA virus. So the transmission is caused through the respiratory droplets. Okay, some close tissues may also can spread the diseases. So in 70s, so it caused so it is widely spread to 31 countries in 1970s. So at that time, 10 million, 15 million patients get this disease every year. Okay, cause 2 million people die. Okay, 2 million people die. So that means one fifth of patient die. Okay, so this is very severe disease. Okay, so since uh, uh, so since 1970s, so a massive so the people have introduced the vaccination to fight against smallpox. So so this disease has disappeared for many years. So last case is found 1977. Okay. So actually, there is no treatment for this disease. So vaccine uh, is the only method to treat this disease. Okay, to protect the people. Now let's talk about the leishmania. Okay, leishmaniasis. Leishmaniasis can cause large pustular skin lesion. Okay, so if we see a very large skin lesion, okay, so this leishmaniasis. Okay, because it causes the infection of the capillaries of the skin. Okay, so this is relatively common in the Central and South America. Okay, so it can affect both skin and mucous membrane. It can also cause systemic leishmaniasis. So we have two types. One is cutaneous leishmaniasis. Okay, it causes leishmania tropical. Another is mucocutaneous leishmaniasis. It causes leishmania brasiliensis. Okay, so we can see both of these. Both of these diseases are very common in the tropical area. Okay, in the hot area. That's because this disease is transmitted by the female sandflies. Okay, female sandflies. So this is happened endemic to the equatorial region. Okay. in the very hot region. So the prevention is to avoid the sand fly. Okay, avoid the sand fly. No vaccine. Now let's talk about the anthrax. Okay, anthrax. Anthrax is a very fatal disease. Okay, it has specific rash. Okay, so this papular rash. Okay, and then uh, can become necrotic and later rupture to form a painless black scar. Okay, black scar like this. So if we see a large black scar, okay, black necrotic skin scar. So this anthrax, okay. So we have to report this case to the public health department and CDC, okay. So this is caused by the bacillus anthracis, okay. So this is can be used uh, by certain countries to make the bioweapons. It can also be used by the terrorists to make the bio attack. Okay, bioterrorism attack. Uh, so the microorganism can make the endospores. Okay, endospores. So the transmission is through the endospore. Once the endospores get into the skin, okay, through the wounds, traumas, or the abrasions, okay, so they can localize to the skin and grow to cause this problem, okay. Uh, so the terrorists also, since the transmission is through the endospore, okay, endospores. So the terrorist can put the endospore to the mail, okay, and pack it with the envelope, and send this mail to the facilities or the people they want to attack. Okay, for example, they can send this email to the to the American president or to the American senators. Okay, so we have this so we have this case several years ago. Okay, so otherwise so since this bacteria is also carried by the livestock, okay, so yes, if the such as sheep, goat, uh, or the cow, okay, so if the people contact those livestock, so they can also get the infections, okay, so this is the transmission route. So based on the symptoms, we can make our diagnosis. Okay, we can also detect the antibodies for the serological lab work. We can also use a PCR detect the so the bacteria of the anthrax. Okay, so the prevention is to avoid contacting with livestock. Okay. Also, so so once we make our so we also have the vaccine exists, but it's only for the high risk patient, high risk person and the military. Okay. Uh, also, so if we make the diagnosis, we can treat the patient quickly because this can cause 20% of fatal, 20% of patient die. Okay. So now let's talk about the fungus skin diseases. Okay. So this is called dermatophytes. Okay. So it can so this is also called ringworm because before uh, the people may think this type of disease is were induced by certain parasites. Okay, however, later on they found that those diseases were induced by the fungus. Okay, excuse me. Actually, the fungus infected the stratum corneum. Okay, only infected the layer of the dead skin cells. Okay, so they don't invade the stratum basal. Okay, or they can also infect the uh, accessory skin accessory part like the hair and the nails. Okay, mm. So all the conditions have name with Tania. Okay, because before so the Tania means small worm, small worm. Okay, actually this is so this is the wrong belief that those diseases are caused by worm. Okay, actually not. So this is the table shows different of fungus infections on the body. Okay, maybe happens on the scalp, on the head. Okay, on the chin, on the cheek, on the beard area, on the body, corpus, ground. Okay, ground. Also on the foot and knee. Okay, so the trichophyton, microsporum, and epidermal so the epidermal phyton as the microorganism cause these diseases. Okay, so those fungus can can uh, can digest the dead skin cells, also can digest the keratin. Okay, so since they don't invade the dermis. Okay, so they don't cause pain. Okay, so the patient with the ringworm don't feel pain. So that means the symptoms is very mild. Okay, so we can treat the so we can make the diagnosis based on the symptoms of based on the rashes, based on the symptoms. Okay, we can treat the patient with the topical antifungus or ointment. Okay. So let's talk about the superficial mycosis. So this infection actually affect the outer epidermal surface. Okay, epidermal surface. Actually, the symptoms is very mild. So the only uh, significant symptom uh, is the cosmetic effect on the patient. Okay, so because it cause the it cause the change the skin color. Okay, make the patient feel like so they don't look very weird. So it is caused by the yeast Malassezia. Okay. So this type of fungus can digest the sebum. Okay, can use skin oil as their food. Okay, so actually this type of fungus actually they are carried uh, by nearly all the peoples. Okay, uh, so that means so that is normal skin barrier. Now let's work on this question. Determine if each of the phrases below describes the impetigo caused by Staphylococcus aureus Streptococcus pyogenes, or both. So we can see the exfoliative toxin A is for the S. aureus. Okay, S. aureus. Since more often in the older children and adult is for the S. Is for the S. aureus. Okay. Hyaluronidase production actually is for the Streptococcus purging, because the Streptococcus purging can generate tons of toxins to cause symptoms. Prevented by good hygiene, so that's for both. Okay, for both. So that's for both. Yeah. So if so if we wash our hands often, and so it can decrease those bacteria colonies numbers. Okay, can decrease the chance for this disease. Okay, seen often in the newborn. Okay, in the newborn. In the newborn actually is for the Streptococcus pyogenes. Okay. Now let's work on the section 4. Okay, section 4. Section 4 is about the eye. Okay, the eye. So the eye has two major parts. One is the conjunctiva. Okay, conjunctiva. Conjunctiva is this part. Okay, this part. It's the thin membrane-like tissues that cover the eye. Okay, except for the cornea. So cornea doesn't have the conjunctiva. Also lines the eyelids. Okay, so it can secrete all your mucus containing the fluid. Okay, so this fluid can lubricate our eyelids. Okay, and protect the eye surface. Cornea is transparent part. It's transparent part. It's the dome-shaped central portion of the eye. Okay, has five to six layers of the epithelial cells. So this epithelial cells can be regenerated. Okay, so so even mild trauma cannot cause cornea damage. Okay. So this is the windshield of eye. Okay. So so the eye also generates tears. Okay, the tears is aqueous fluid. Okay, white mucus contains the oil and mucus. So it is formed by the lacrimal glands on the outer and upper corner of each eye. Okay, here. Okay. So the tear can be generated and released to the eye, and it then will be collected by the lacrimal duct. Okay, lacrimal duct, and drawn through the nasal lacrimal duct to the nasal cavity. Okay. So the tears also contains the lysozyme and lactoferrin. So those are the peptides can kill the bacteria. Okay. So the only function of for the eye is vision. Okay, is vision. So that means actually, so there is blood-eye barrier. Okay, barrier to isolate the eye from the blood supply system. Okay, so that means there is no blood vessels in eye. Okay, so they So there are not white since there are not white blood cells, so there are not white blood cells. Okay, because there is no blood vessel. Because the white blood cells can cause the privation. Okay, can cause privation. So scientists also believe that it's the immune privilege for the eye. Okay, so the eye has very low innate immunity. Okay, so which of the following is not nature defense of the eye? Okay, I'll give you 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the flashing, actually it is. Okay. Phagocyte is not. Okay, so the answer is this one. Okay, lysozyme, yes, so it is. Okay, it is. Lacto ferrin mucus, it is. So the correct answer is B. Okay, it's B. Okay, it's B. Now let's work on the section 5. Okay, so normal beta of eye. Okay, so the scientists have analyzed the beta of the eye. Okay, actually, so in many cases, so the corneal bacterium is the major bacteria of the eye. Okay, so there are also some others microorganisms similar to the skin. Okay, similar to the skin. Now let's work on this question. The normal beta of the eye mostly resembles the normal beta of actually the skin, right? Because eye because it's close to the skin. Yeah. Now let's work on the section 6. Excuse me. Now let's talk about the conjunctive. Let's talk about let's talk about let's talk about the conjunctivitis. Okay. So this is an infection of conjunctiva. So it can be caused certain microorganism. Excuse me. In certain conditions, such as the patient wears the contact lesions, so it some specific microorganisms can cause those conjunctivitis in a patient with varying contact lengths. Okay, accidental inoculation of the foreign body to the eye. Okay, for example, the trauma can cause foreign body inserted to the eye and carry the microorganism to cause the conjunctivitis. So the symptoms would be the milky discharge. Okay, milky discharge, and the viral functions can cause clear watery discharge. So if a patient has bacterial infections with the milky discharge, so once they wake up in the morning, so they feel their eyes glued, okay, glued, and with the thick discharge. Okay, so the seasonal allergy can also cause the conjunctivitis. So this is also the watery discharge. Okay, so the common name is pink eye because so the conjunctiva is very red. Okay, for the neonatal infections, so the most common microorganism cause the neonatal infections is actually is the chlamydia trachomonatis. Okay. Second is the NG. Okay. Neisseria gonorrhea. NG NG is one type of. Actually, these two are the sexual transmitted diseases. Okay. So this is transmitted vertically from the genital tract of the mother. So if the mother has been infected by those diseases, so they can let their babies to get the infections. So the NG can cause severe eye damage. Okay, if untreated. Herpes can also cause the neonatal conjunctivitis, but however, the mother has to get the herpes infection first. Okay. For the adult, so the conjunctivitis can be caused by the staphylococcus or the streptococcus pyogenes. Okay. Adult can also get the conjunctivitis by the NG or the chlamydia. Okay, because however these are the transmitted disease. Okay, transmitted disease. So first of all, so the patient have to have the genital infection of this disease and have to have the sexual exposure to uh, to this microorganism. Okay. So the fungus and the protozoa can also for the contact lens. Okay, so if the patient wear the contact lens, so the microorganism could be the fungus or the protozoa. Okay, protozoa. However, the major one is amoeba. Okay, so we talk about this later. So the virus infection could be the adenovirus. Okay, adenovirus. This is a very common virus that cause the viral conjunctivitis. So the direct contact by hand, okay, is the transmission route. So the treatment, so first of all, we have to identify the microorganism, okay, and then based on different microorganisms, so we can use different treatment. However, so we can, so if we suspect the patient have the bacterial infections, we can use the ciprofloxacin, okay, for the bacterial infections. So we can make our diagnosis based on symptoms and then give the patient treatment immediately. If this is viral infections, so we can so we can still give the patient with antibiotics because many patients will get the bacterial infections later on after viral infections. Okay. Keratitis. Okay. So keratitis is an infection on the cornea. Okay. So this is a very severe case because uh, uh, because once the cornea is getting infections, so it so it might decrease the transparency of the cornea. Okay, so that can cause blindness. Okay, so the certain bacteria can cause. Okay, however, the most important one is herpes. Okay, herpes. So the herpes simplex virus type 1, okay, can travel to the eye. Okay. trigeminal nerves. Okay, so if patient have the herpes, so the virus can get into the eye through the trigeminal nerve. Okay, so the herpes 2 actually can be transmitted through the sexual encounter. Oh, okay. Sexual encounter, that means so they can cause neonatal infections. Okay. Neonatal keratitis. So the keratitis, once we see the corneal infections, okay, so we can make our diagnosis. We can also detect the virus through the PCR. Okay. However, so based on symptoms, we can directly give the patient treatment. So this acyclovir, because acyclovir is for the herpes, right? We can also give them trephine dye. Okay, trephine dye. So for the patient wears the contact lens, okay, since the contact lens is a foreign object, okay, so the certain microorganism can grow on the contact lens. So we have to sanitize our hand and the devices very carefully. So if not, so it's very easy to get the a cancer amoeba keratitis. Okay, so this is amoeba induced in corneal infections. Because amoeba is everywhere in the tap water, in the ponds, in the lake. Okay. So the most important things is sanitize our hand and the devices to wear the contact lens. Now let's work on this question. Which of the following is the most common causes of neonatal conjunctivitis? So I give you 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, the correct answer is chlamydia trachomonatis, because chlamydia is very widely infecting the peoples. Okay, many people have chlamydia. So those are the diagrams shows different skin infections and eye infections. You guys can take a look at. So this is the appendix. So you guys can use this to help you review of the contents of this chapter. So this is end.